Hey everyone, Temporal here. For this session, we are going to be reviewing a silver tank. We're going to be looking at Reinhardt, Roadhog, and I believe a little bit of Sigma. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. Okay, so we're starting here on low ground. Makes me a little bit sad. Did your team start on low ground to force this? Did your team really force this, or did you create this?
Ready for battle.
Okay, that was a bigger rewind than I wanted. Yeah, that would be my fault. So you came through here.
You always did take good care of my armor.
So you have some poke aspects that can take advantage of this high ground here. You don't have to drop yet. You can look at this and say, hey, let my Torb soften them up, let my soldiers soften them up. Don't let the opponents, if they are poke heavy, soften my shield up before they get to here, and then we'll drop on them and brawl here. It would be okay to take your fight right here rather than at the choke. That said, it's silver. You guys are going to play the choke. I'll deal.
Hello.
Try to keep it in one piece. For once.
What are you looking at?
Just look at you.
Obviously, if your team drops and plays in front of you, you would have to play this choke instead.
5,
But they hadn't dropped yet. You probably could have played high ground there.
2, 1. Attackers.
If you'd wanted. At least until you knew what their combo was.
Stop the payload.
Got some fire strike hits. Nice. Yeah, even on gas station, the opponents are gonna shoot at you, so you can sort of go, hey, I'll stand here, I'll take some charge, that sort of thing. And she can afford to get her charge a little slower if she's just lobbing stuff from up here, but that's okay. Why are you giving them shield to shoot at? Okay. Wait a second, wait a second. Now think about pushing in for swings. So you had to be aware of that timing. So this is just a touch early on your timing. I think she likely doesn't have it back quite yet, though it's not the end of the world. Yep, you're just a touch early on your timing as you go to swing here. And I actually know you're a touch early on your timing, and I'm okay with that because I'm greedy, and I'm going to go swing in to get bubbled, in to swing more. So boom, boom, and now I kind of know that your bubble's available. So I actually want to do this shield up for just a moment thing, but I'm instantly ready to swing again while you're backing up. And that's just internally knowing what the timing of your Zarya's bubble is, and when you have that, you can get a little more greedy here. You can do a little bit more. If you weren't sure, you could have waited just a little bit longer before that first swing, and then for that first swing, you'd have had bubble available. That would have been safer. It wouldn't have necessarily hurt the enemies as much, but it would have been safer because you can afford to go deeper with your bubble like that. But that's okay. So now she's not really getting amazing bubble value out of you, which is a shame. Oh, I see it. I see that they're grouped. I see why you want this fire strike. But if you start to back up during a bubble, like you're bubbled, you're backing up, by the time you get back in here, your bubble's going to be gone. Like, you don't actually have this bubble to protect this fire strike. So this isn't really a great fire strike that you're going for here. I know it seems like it. I know it seems like they're grouped, but it's not actually great. You can get slept here, you can get naded here, you obviously can take damage from their Zarya. This isn't amazing. Use a cart, sure. Okay, you don't need your shield up anymore. You don't need your shield up. He doesn't have shatter, no one can see you, just tuck right and wait. Save your shield. No, there's not specific. No, Val, drop the topic. Okay, so you don't need to back up here. You can scoot to the right. You can scoot to the right, use this. It's not full protection. There's no reason to be letting these guys in here. Okay. There you go.
Everyone else is a
And you're going to swing with this. Good. I don't actually think you have anything to finish off here, so you're going to have to go into shield. I hope you do. Yeah, this is too aggressive. So that was just one swing too aggressive. So this is pretty good. We go here, sure. You're looking for things. You see this bubble in time to know that you can get one swing out of it. You're not going to get two swings out of the bubble anymore. And you got your one swing, and you decide I have plenty of health. I'm going for another swing. Great. Lots of targets. You have health. You go for another swing. And now it's time to be done. No one is like in, oh, one more swing finishes them off range. There's no like, oh, I can crush this. I can do what we need. That's great. All sorts of things. Like, there's no amazingness to that. There's no like, oh, I've got the next finish right here. So you put your shield up. You're going to put your shield up, get healed up a little more. You already took out their soldier. We're good with that. And your team grinds out the win here. You do not want to do the next swing because the next swing very predictably here puts you very low health. And now you're very low health in the enemy space. Like, you've pushed in. Fortunately, they fell back a little bit. And yes, they had to. But you put that in danger. Hey, Buidle there. That should continue to upgrade over time. It should continue to upgrade over time. YouTube is generally pretty good about getting those. For a while it was 3 minutes, then it went out to 15 minutes. I don't know if it's still at 15 minutes. Unfortunately, there was some construction going on outside that the internet didn't really like. Usually these streams are higher quality than that. I won't claim they're the best in the world, but that usually happens. So that should continue to upscale in quality until it is a solid viewing experience. If it doesn't, that's a shame. The vast majority of the time they do. I'm probably not going to do a re-review of it. If it doesn't upscale in quality, I may unlist it and take it down, so you'll still be able to view it if you want there. But I'm probably not going to do a re-review of it for you because that one was a freebie, effectively, and doesn't really make sense to go do again. If it didn't work out, I'd probably just find another one to do. Obviously, if we were talking about a paid review here, which I do many of, I would not let that happen. I'd make sure we got a quality one done, etc. But yours should upscale for you. Cool. Okay, Val says, I watch videos of people breaking blocks in their forehead. I just thought Temporal's forehead would give an advantage, and it probably does. The forehead is much better. The forehead is much harder than people's faces, for example. That's how headbutts work. When you headbutt people, it's not forehead to forehead like you sometimes see, which is really stupid. It's forehead into people's squishy faces, and that's a thing that happens. That's a thing, like, in combat of how that is done. And yes, when it comes to martial arts, some martial arts do train specific parts of the body. Like, you've seen this in karate where people will train their knuckles to get harder, etc. Those are things that absolutely happen. Unfortunately, what we've also discovered with a lot of those things is long term, they're not so great. You can get very, very hard calluses around your knuckles that make you much more effective at punching stuff, much stronger knuckles. But then the trade off for that is, oh, whoops, almost always get arthritis and almost always get it, a decade or more earlier than average members of the population. So is that a trade-off that you want to get into there? But yeah, there's absolutely martial arts that go and train specific parts of their body to be hardened, to be harder. You can get into that with Muay Thai with some of the shin stuff. You kind of have to because shin blocking sucks. But no, I did not do anything for my head specifically there, Val. Okay. It is! The stream is back, Carolina.
Don't worry, my friends. I am your shield.
It is a rhyme. Charge your shield. So you want to notice these a little bit faster. You got it. You did notice it eventually, but you want to notice these a little bit faster. Just step out here and hit this fire strike. There's no one to swing at, so step out and hit the fire strike while you're bubbled. And you're a little slow on this, and as you see, you're still in the wind up when your bubble's gone. So just a little too slow to react to realize. Adam Nicholas with a super chat for $1.99 says, "Hey, poor boy, did you buy new internet now?" Something like that. Yes, Adam. Yes, I did. And it was all thanks to your super chats. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Little too predictable, little too far away. He was already low health, so he wanted to shield. Reinhardts, when they get lower health, are more interested in shielding generally, so you don't want to play into that. They're actually easier to shatter when they're higher health.
Group up with me.
Nordstorm says, Temporal, just buy a private fiber to your house. Easy. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Glad to give to the needy. Thank you, Adam. Thank you. You did. You did whiff that shatter, but that's okay. Legit RC also donated to the fund. Did he now?
Join me.
Yeah, that one's probably not happening, Adam.
Worked hard on that.
Everyone heal up. Group up here.
Okay.
Get me my
I don't know why you're just giving shield. If you give a little bit of shield when the opponents are way back here and your shield will have time to regenerate, you give like 400 shield HP while your Torb is shooting from behind it, I don't mind. Now you're giving shield to your Torb for your Torb to shoot with, but you're doing it when the opponents are close enough, when the Rhine is close enough that you might be interested in using your shield and having your shield. That I'm less a fan of. Like, okay, this is 600 shield HP, 500 shield HP that you're giving away just to sort of let your buddy shoot when the enemy team is close enough that your shield isn't necessarily going to regenerate. We don't like that as much. Like, this is shield HP that we might need to be able to stabilize with, like this Reinhardt is having to use their shield HP to stabilize with in the middle of the fight. Fine.
area won't hold forever.
Okay, so here you are. Why do you feel the need to... No. You don't have a way out. If you don't have a way out, you just have to hold the line. Like, you look at this. You chose to hold this corner. You're using your shield. Okay, you can use your shield and go, hey, I'm going to rotate all the way out. But, like, all the way out is tough. Are you going to rotate over here? Is that what you're actually going to do? Or are you going to try to rotate back to here? Are you going to try to rotate into gas station? What are you using this shield to get to? And if so, you better be pretty darn decisive about it. Okay, so that was really far away that you tried to go. You can still make it here probably, but that was really far away that you tried to go. You're probably better off just going, nope, this is my line, I'm holding it, I'm enforcing it. But that's okay. Where are you going? This is such a far rotation. You just tried to go from here to here without any shield. Like from here to here without any shield. You are just purely taking advantage of the fact that the opponents have silver aim. You should have been so easily deleted with 300 health or so going from here to here. The only place you had with your shield broken that you could go was here. This was the only place. This was the only option. Use the shield to panic. This rate, we might as well say this video is sponsored by Adam at the start. Nah, there's other people. There's other people who get super chats in here. Don't get me wrong, Adam super chats. Adam super chats quite nicely, and it's great. But we get super chats from others.
Group up with me. Join me.
And if anything, this video is sponsored by Sheldon, who we're reviewing, who, you know, went and purchased the review there.
Group up with me.
Though we've seen super chats from Sheldon as well. Not that I would expect one of those here. Again, he's already sponsoring this video. But I don't think that's quite right there, Val. Hey, old man. That's quite the YouTube name that you have there. Yeah, that poor Mercy.
Group up with me. Join me.
Mercy didn't want to hang out. Okay, okay.
60 seconds remaining.
Okay. This is very much deciding that you're not... If you back off this far, you can't contest third again. I don't know why you're bothering to push up. Like, you backed off far enough that You're just not going to contest this again. You had the option of sort of staying in the general vicinity, contesting and contesting now when it's just you and Torb, and knowing that the rest of your help wasn't too far away, or you had the option of saying, no, I don't want to 2v6, so I'm just going to let them have it, in which case we're setting up back here. But there's not really a situation where you back off this far and then go back in when the card is this close. Like, your Torb is going to have to be the one who feeds, and your Torb can't delay point as well as you can. You would much rather be the one delaying point from here, while your Torb is trying to do work from over here, trying to get a pick. If Torb has to delay, he's definitely not getting a pick. You can delay the cart much better.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Made it when you were young and itchy and never bothered to change it? Okay. Cringe and laugh at your next play. Okay.
Junkrat primed and ready.
You were too old for about the Mercy. Okay. We're just walking out here taking damage on our health, then on the bubble, and then super late after the bubble's basically over, we're gonna fire strike here? This was like the definition of Rhine dancing. You're like, through the open, back, fire strike, like, what? No. So, you could try for like a close hold up here where you go, I'm going to hold here from mega side. My team can see me. I'm going to try for that sort of thing. There's some problems with it, but you could try for it. Usually you just accept that your hold is going to be around the high ground on this point. Usually that's more what you do. But if you really wanted to stop them early, you could try something like this. You wouldn't just like hang out in the open though. This isn't it.
My ultimate is ready.
I mean, you guys can always put basically whatever you want up in chat there during the match, after, it doesn't matter. I just won't always respond to it either at all or until the end of the match. Sometimes I'll respond to it during the match, but I generally do a pretty good job of keeping these on the pace I want to. No counterpin? Counterpin there would have been fine. Good block.
Hold forever.
You trying to bait him out? Almost. Swing. Swing. Totally worth it. Your shield's not going to hold out this whole time anyways, and as soon as you swing, he's going to be eliminated. He stepped out of the lamp. Like, you absolutely swing for this elimination right here, take him out, and then go back to shielding. Even if you were at like 300 HP, you'd probably try to swing for this elimination.
Area won't hold forever.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It was a good block.
Let's get you back out there.
The Rhine dance has a purpose we finally discovered what it's for.
Enemy contact.
It's a mating dance for from Rhine to try and charm Mercy. I don't know about that one. Super chat from Adam for 199 saying we believe in Sheldon, and then some other things that he knows aren't going to get read. So, you know, good for you. Good for that. We do believe in Sheldon. Good luck to Sheldon. Thank you, Adam, for the 199 super chat. We can point out from there that, you know, Adam wants to share in the super chat that, you know, he thinks temporal sucks. That's fine. Standard fare for Adam. We're all good. So, we're here. We're backing up. We're backing up and fire striking. Where's our cover? Is this where we're going to? Or are we backing up because we want this cover? Is that what's going on? What's over here? Now we're walking back forward? Decisive. Decisive Reinhardt. He goes towards things that he wants to swing at, or he goes towards cover that he's going to use. He doesn't just hang out in the open. Where's your fire strike? You got a bubble, you instantly are going to have to fire strike. But the truth is, you're not giving her great opportunities to bubble you because you're not here holding this. You're not here holding this. Like, We want to fight these things. That would be good. Why are we back here? There's the fire strike at least. Why are we still backing up? Swing. Where's the swing? Shield. You're gonna have a moment. You're gonna have a moment. He's going to push and you're gonna shatter him. Too late. Yeah. Yeah, so too much wandering around in the open. You're not getting pressured very hard when you're wandering around in the open, but it's still not good because you're not being effective. You're letting the cart move. You're not telling your team effectively with your body language where you're setting up to actually fight the opponents. It's just sort of wandery and loose and not great. I'm constantly chasing that Zarya, trying to save her bacon. Maybe her bacon wouldn't need saving if she had more energy because you were giving her better bubble opportunities. Whenever I'm wandering, it's because my team members aren't backing up with me, so I'm going back and trying to give them cover. Forget giving them cover. They can figure it out on their own. You can go get yourself hard cover. If you need to back up because you're in a situation where, oh, I'm in the open, I don't like it, I need to back up to cover, so be it. But then once you've got cover, you should be relatively safe. If your teammates are back in spawn, you're not safe, and you might have to back up more. But you being down one person doesn't make this like, oh, my cover's compromised, I'm not safe anymore. You just kind of go shrug, whatever, we're still fine, we have cover advantage. Like, that's not really an answer. Whenever I'm wandering, it's because my teammates aren't backing up with me, so I'm going back and trying to give them cover. No, the Rhine bus waits for no one. Like, that's not strictly true. Yes, you might go, okay, I'll rotate when my team is ready for me to rotate, but when it comes to you getting out, you going to cover with your backups, go actually to cover if that's what you're trying to do. Don't do this, like, backwards, forwards thing. Don't do this, like, well, I'm going backwards. Well, this is perfectly good, but I'm going to go here instead. Like, no. No. Your bubble synergy is bad while they shoot. Aren't backing up with me, so I'm going back to try to give them cover while they shoot. No! We're not giving our team cover while they shoot. Forget that. Forget that. Like, yes, there is a small niche to go, hey, we're being threatened from two different angles, and I'm intentionally shielding against an angle, like I'm shielding against that angle, for example, from here, while my soldier peppers their widow and makes her leave. I'm intentionally doing that when the rest of the team is over there. Where the enemy team is still at gate, so I'm using like 400 shield HP for my soldier to just be like, yeah, whatever, I'll try to do something, and then I'm going, okay, now I'm done because I want to have full shield when they show up. But generally speaking, your shield is not for your team to just fire through. You're not going, oh, let me go be a firing platform for them. This is a principle of Reinhardt. Your shield is so that you can get to enemies that you want to swing at, or so that you can get to cover. Once you're at cover, you don't go, oh, let me go shield my teammates. No, because then you potentially don't have it. Like, if you go, no, it's fine, the cart's back here, and I'm shielding here, and my soldier is shooting through this, well, that might seem okay, but the problem that you run into is your shield being down 400, 600, 700 HP now means you don't have the option when your soldier does create an opening with his damage, or when your Junkrat creates an opening with his damage, you don't now have the option of pushing up with a full shield, which is what it'll take to go take advantage of the opening that they took, because you're missing 700 shield HP. And now your shield breaks when you're here, and you get eliminated. Or you recognize that you're missing too much shield, and you don't push, and you don't get to capitalize on the opening. Like, there is no, I'm backing up to go protect my teammate with my shield. Stop it. Stop it. If that doesn't make sense, please let me know. But, like, you actually are giving up opportunities by if that's how you're thinking about the game with Reinhardt. Oh, you got back to black. Congrats, Carolina.
Acknowledged. Thanks. I'm on fire.
Come on, try me.
What are you looking at?
There's a lot of Reinhardt plays out there, Adam. Yeah.
30 seconds remaining.
Okay.
Ultimate is charging.
Not much you can do with that one. Okay. You didn't really need to step away yet. Uzaria's pushing, you gotta be pushing. Sure. Sure. Okay. So the push in there was late. Not a big deal.
This is my will.
Adam has mad respect for the crouch, we see.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Yep, no, I get it, but if
There
you
is
think
no
he's gonna
obligation
slam, and I
for the
get it, I
universe to make sense
totally
to
understand
you.
why you thought he was gonna slam, and that's fine, but you can still keep swinging, just swing at max hammer range. If you swing at max hammer range, Reinhardt has his hammer, it's something like this, cool, we have our hammer, whatever, something like that. Okay, we have our hammer. Don't hit him with the center of the hammer, no. Hit him with the top edge of the hammer. That's what we want to do. Hit him with the top edge of the hammer. That'll still give you maximum reaction time to try to block his shatter. That's okay. And yeah, it was pretty likely that he wanted to shatter, and I kind of wanted to hit him with the top of my hammer, knowing that I could block at max range. Maybe you can't, but it's something you can practice and kind of bait that shatter. Because yeah, I was expecting that shatter too, to be perfectly honest. But he's not going to land it. Over 10% of Temporal's reviews are Ryan. Yeah, and we've talked about that. I think what you have is tank players and supports, but tank players understand, especially when they're playing something like Reinhardt, that, okay, if they're not GM, it's not just their mechanics. And people who think it's more than mechanics and think it's more than just they need to play more to grind their mechanics are more likely to seek out reviews.
Pattern.
Okay. Who's your team? Who's your partner now? Your partner is Zarya? Okay. And where's your Zarya playing from? So this doesn't really work, right? You can't really play down main as Sigma like this unless your Zarya is playing from up like over here or something. So you're going to need to figure out, okay, if my team is going to play down mid, I need to play from something like over here. From something like over here. Ideally from up here, but that's not going to happen. But something over here where your team can still see and support you, but you can pepper them from the side. That's what we want to be looking for. Those are the types of positions we play from as Sigma.
60 seconds remaining.
At this point, I feel like all of my brawl has failed, so I swapped for some range damage. Okay. Okay. Your brawl sort of failed because you didn't really brawl. Your brawl failed because you sort of went forward and back here. And here, you were standing back here when your Zarya was brawling with people up here. That doesn't really make sense either. Now, there's a concern of people coming in on an angle, but that doesn't really make sense. We were too late into the fight. We're not decisively brawling enough. But that's okay. Let's continue through here. Pull back the shield, please. 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 You gonna hop up for the high ground? Left side? Left side, hop up for high ground. You gonna hop yourself up on these boxes, hoppity, 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 and spam from here? Is that what we're gonna do? have no cover. Pull it back. You have cover now. Pull it back. Good. Okay. Life. Again, you're not going to get shattered if you're up here. If you're up here muscling this angle when they try to come through, they're going to have a real tough time going for that shatter. You can rock him and cancel it. You can do all sorts of stopping them from being willing to push in to follow up on the shatter. All sorts of good things you can do.
If only the
10
answers were
seconds
simple.
remaining.
Keep your heads down. We've almost got this. Videbal suyo!
This point is the best Reinhold. Yeah, a lot of maps, a lot of payload maps in particular, get a little more condensed, a little more inside, and become better Rhine points as they get later into the map. It's pretty common in some areas of Overwatch when things are tightly balanced to see teams. Like in World Third, you rotate into Brawl. Nimbani third. Rhine isn't great on first, he's okay on second, but first and second have a lot of high ground. On the other hand, high ground is much less powerful on third. Reinhardt becomes a more attractive hero. You can go through Route 66. There's plenty of high ground to use in here, and are some long sight lines, but this does become a better Rhine point. It's still more enclosed than first and second, where you might have been happier playing Hammond, for example. So definitely a good point for Rhine. Now you know about the path to high ground there, Sheldon. Good stuff.
Activating the barrier.
You don't really want to throw your barrier into that. It just won't hold enough.
Payload is approaching its destination.
If you're going to block a window, you're generally better off blocking it with your shift. They're not paying enough attention to you before you shift, so your shift gets basically nothing. They should already be shooting at you when you use your shift.
Fire! Keep out of my way.
What do you look
Okay.
at?
And now are we on to Hog? We are, and I think you play Hog for the rest of it, so I want to talk about your Reinhardt and your Sigma. With Sigma, it's really about understanding. It really is with Sigma in general about understanding. You're playing for the off angles, and preferably for the off angle high ground. The off angle high ground. You have to play sort of short range off angle high ground because you have a medium range off angle high ground because you have range limitations, but those are what you're playing to work off of. You're not trying to contest main. You can't really beat a Reinhardt down main. That's not your goal. You're not going to beat an Orisa down main either. That's not your goal. Your goal is to pepper them from the side and be hard to remove. That really is your goal. We talked about this. Didn't love the barrier into that. The shift is better. If you were going to shift, you'd have probably swung out here where more of their damage was coming through to eat that damage with the shift, and then as the shift is ending, you go back behind here, convert it, and then you're back to playing from here. This was good that you were playing from here, though. We did like that. Okay, moving back to your Rhine. Obviously, you had a good long hold on this first choke here, and I'm okay with that. I really want you to understand, though, that... How do I want to best summarize this? I really want you to understand that if you're using your shield, you have to know where you're going when you start rotating. You have to start rotating instantly if you're in the open, but you have to know where you're going with your shield the instant you start going. It's okay if you change your mind and go somewhere else, but you really need to know where you're going. Like, it can't be, I'm going back here. You didn't know. You were just generically going back here. You didn't know where you were going. Because if you were thinking about a planned path, you'd have probably gone across here because it's a shorter rotation to safety. And then you can quickly get back to here, and then if you want, you can cross back and take cave. Or you can go straight to the cave. It's potentially doable depending on incoming damage. But you didn't really do that either. You sort of did a straight back up and then eventually went, I think I want to go this way type thing. That can't happen. Same thing here. This, like, I sort of want to defend from here. This isn't a place you can defend from. The map geometry doesn't allow for that. You could potentially do here. You could potentially do here. This would be the normal one, and then you drop when you have enough of a lead, and then your fallback sort of becomes this right here. That's how it works. If you want to push up into them because you think you can win, you think you've softened them up enough, or you really want the fight, that's totally fine. Put your shield up and walk at them. But if that's the plan, you're going to walk at them and swing at them when you get there. If you take too much damage and change your mind and leave, that's fine. But you're going to leave by going back to cover, by going back to here. You're not going to have this weird, like, I'm going up to want to swing. No, it's too heavy. It's too much damage coming in. I'm going to leave. Well, now I feel okay about it, and I'm going to start to push in. Absolutely not. This is not going to happen, and there is no firing platform for your team nonsense. You could do a little bit of firing platform for your team up here, like we talked about, for a very brief duration, but mostly there is no firing platform for your team nonsense. Like, get that out of your head. It's mostly used very specifically to clear, hey, there's a widow there, there's the team here, let my soldier clear the widow real quick, and then we can actually walk at these guys type thing. That's really kind of the small window that it's used for. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and move on and see some hog. If you have any questions about any of that, though, Sheldon, go ahead and throw them up in chat now. You can also throw them up at the end. Either is fine, but I'm happy to go into more depth there. Do I look like a Rhine worth pocketing, though? I mean, it's not really Mercy who pockets the Rhine. You held so many last points as Ryan. Need to do a great. Yeah, it's strong. You're playing fine. Not your best play at the end, sure. This is one of my bad games, to be honest. That's usually what I like to share with Coach. Yep, that's fine. Unless you send in a game like my Anubis review where Temporal just went, this is actually correct for 40 minutes. I don't think so. I don't think so. I see Adam is doing some gaslighting, rewriting of history, all that good stuff now. Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Zenyatta is here.
Escort the payload.
Okay. So this is okay. You're actually potentially a little bit early here because your team isn't really as threatening as we'd like yet. You do this a little bit more when your team is threatening, when they're distracted. At least there's a little bit going on here with the Orisa. You can also pretty reliably, I don't mind that you missed the hook, but these guys don't have anywhere to go. So if you right-click then hook, that's going to work a little bit better, especially if the Tsar is the one you get. But if you throw your right-click, then hook, your right-click's going to be in the air when you're hooking. They're not really going to have time to react to your hook. So you can go for a right-click hook here, and that would be great. There's nowhere for them to go. They're not going to suddenly react and dodge your hook. If your hook misses, it's because you missed, which just happens. Don't really want to use breather like that if we can avoid it. We now are in a situation where we don't have our breather to sustain our next push, and we definitely didn't need that breather to get out. And we'd really prefer to feed this support charge. We don't want to like distract our supports when they're doing other things, but we'd really prefer that supports get ult charge off of us rather than us get ult charge off of healing ourselves if they're equal options, because Whole Hog is one of the worst ults in the game. Yeah. Rotate right side of cart, right side of cart. Your wrist is here. You have to go here. You have to. You can even go over here. Okay, and now breather, breather, breather. Sure. Why are you walking along the side of your cart? Your Orisa can push this cart from behind. Go out here. Go out here like your soldier is, and then you can work your way here. You can threaten to wander back here. You can go back through here. Like, I wanna... Well, that works. Okay. Ideally, we'd do fancy hog shenanigans where we'd place him here and he's sort of stuck between us and we'd take care of him like that. Yes, it is a thing you can do. You can hook, and then once your hook is out, once your hook has already been thrown, you can hard 180 so he actually gets reeled into the side or even behind you. These are things that you can do. There are more advanced hog techs. They're hard. They make your aiming a little bit harder because you have to instantly after you've thrown it basically go for your flip, but this is fine. Okay, and now leave. You got him. Leave. Don't play in the open. Don't feed. Don't feed. Why are you still pushing forward while breathing? Breather is a retreat tool. Breather is not a I'm pushing in for more. Here. Go here. Go here. You don't have hook yet.
You're going to live.
Don't. Good. Okay. Walk yourself over to here. They're not threatening you. Walk yourself over to here. Now anyone who comes back here you can potentially threaten, and also if they drop, you have a nice off angle on them and you get to shoot them in the back, which makes it really hard for them to make the decision to drop. Really hard. I much prefer that to you adding some spam here. And boom. This Orisa shield is now worthless if you're standing right here, because it's helping against Orisa, but you're right here and you're just going to go left click, hook, left click. That was fun. That's a hook into a barrier, and a very predictable barrier. The tunnel spot could have been good. And as Hog, you're durable enough to go take off angles like that, to go take places sort of separated from your team and put the opponents in situations where they're like, I don't like either of these. You want to take advantage of that. Adam sharing that he believes temporal sucks. Okay, okay.
Ultimate ready.
Distract the enemy team, not yours. There you go.
Hey. I read you.
This is going to be too short range. I already want to be going through tunnel because Hog isn't like super long range. His right click is pretty limited in terms of its range. His hook is obviously a bit further, but you only get one of those. And I don't want the threat coming from the same direction as my team. I can sustain on this angle, and this angle, unsurprisingly, is going to put me closer to an enemy team that I can threaten, while still having me pretty safe to retreat with Breather if I have to. Okay. Crosshair. Crosshair. Why is my crosshair not right here? This is the place an opponent might show up. As interesting as it is to read about legendary magnetic gloves that make you never drop tools again, as interesting as it is to read about those, we can read about those in a custom game when no one's here. We instead want to hold our crosshair over the place where an opponent is most likely to show up. That'll make our right clicks faster, that'll make our hooks come out faster. That's what we want to do. One day we found out temporal is actually Adam's dad. They're just doing this because of family disagreement. I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay. This is where we ramp up the Pandal to 11. Uh-oh.
I'm feeling I could do this with my eyes closed.
Okay. So where was the enemy going to show up? Sure. Could have had a right click there. Could have helped. Where's the enemy going to show up? Is an enemy going to show up? No. There? No. Maybe an enemy is going to show up there. Maybe an enemy is going to show up over here. Maybe an enemy is going to show up over here. Or maybe an enemy is going to show up over there by that doorway. It's a little further off our screen. But there's not really a situation where an enemy is going to show up here. That matters on Hog. That matters on a hero who's a pick-off one-shot hero where you're holding your crosshair, because you want to take care of people as soon as they show up a lot of the time. Okay, there's a doorway. Sort of. Oh, we hear that Orisa? Some slow reactions to that Orisa. Okay. We're just going to walk right back on up through here, and now we're going to threaten from here. Okay, you thought they'd come from left side, dropping from my ground? Sure. Ring around the rosy. There you go. It's fine. I'm not totally sure I want to reload in the open rather than just tuck behind this door while reloading, but okay. You're gonna ult. Interesting. So again, that wasn't really your optimal range. We could talk about this, but it wasn't really your optimal range positioning. You already had a soldier threatening from here. You threatening from here was probably better, even if you go right click, peek for the right clicks, unpeek, you can get healed, they can't attack your supports, boom, as they walk through, they have to worry about, okay, well, we have to drop here, because if we don't drop here, we get shot in the side by the hog, as well as the soldier in the back who are shooting at us. So this was probably the better spot for you, but that's okay. Again, we're creating pincers with our team.
There is no obligation for the universe to make sense of you. Hello.
Yes, Adam. Yes, Adam. Your dog is having accidents in the house because I'm not doing a good enough job coaching, not because you are failing to train your dog properly. It is my fault. That makes sense. Maybe it's my fault for not training you well enough on how to train your dog, Adam. Maybe it's my fault.
Observe the barrier.
But it's gonna be trouble for this to be my fault without it also being your fault. That's gonna be tough. Okay. This is where they take the high ground on the left, and I have no idea how to respond. It's called Saloon. Not sure. The high side here, yeah. Sure. I mean, we call this Zeds, and we do actually call it Zeds. You can call this Saloon. People understand that call out, yes. Your dog is behaving perfectly asleep on the couch. There you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so now we are back on the Sigma here.
Observe the barrier.
I don't really need to shove that barrier in their face. Can pull that down. Cool.
Everyone heal up.
Sure. Pull it back.
Barrier no longer exists.
You just sort of forgot about your barrier there. You can leave it up for the extra second to help Soldier fight the Junkrat. That's fine, but you don't just leave it up indefinitely like that. You don't want it taking that much damage. You didn't retreat with your shift. So you can use your shift when you're stuck in the open. Totally fine to use your shift when you're stuck in the open. But by the time this shift ends, you should be already have a place where it's like, I'm like this, I'm absorbing with my shift, and as my shift ends, I tuck behind. As my shift ends, I tuck behind. That sort of thing. As this shift ends, I tuck behind. Okay, that's something at least. You're just taking damage. Sure be nice to have a barrier right now. Couldn't use it because you'd let it break with that deploy up there. Adam says, no, my dog said, Adam, I am doing this to protest poor YouTube coaches with their terrible quality videos while he was going number 2 on your kitchen table. I see. That still sounds like poor training. That he thinks or she thinks you would consider that a valid form of protest sounds like poor training to me. Sig doesn't need a barrier, just the ability to fly. Could be fun, Block. Could be fun.
Someone get that payload.
Sadly, that experimental, unlike Diva's call mech shenanigans, that experimental didn't survive.
Group up. Get out of my way. Join me. Group up with me.
Okay.
Activating the barrier.
Okay. Oh boy. That was a deep angled open. So I like that you're going for this deep angle, but this is like opening it. Like, is your team opening it? Is your team fighting? Sorta. Sorta fighting. Okay, we can live with it. Sure, your team's eliminated. We'll call it. Mm-hmm. Good. Why is your barrier still out? Why is your barrier still deployed? Thank you. You should have pulled that barrier back while you were in the air. I was just surprised to find that there's you were. I wasn't that surprised, but fair enough.
Ik voel me stukken beter.
Adam, do I look like I respect GM players? I mean, yes, they're good at Overwatch, but 4.7 players make too many mistakes.
Enemy seen.
Walk it off.
Taking damage.
That music. It's playing again.
30 seconds remaining. None of
It's a long time to be fighting this. So you're pushing through here. This is happening. I'm not quite sure why you pushed this barrier into his face. Like, this long deploy doesn't really help you. I guess you're going, hey, I don't want him to be able to influence this fight. But as you can see, that didn't really work. He also doesn't struggle with the barrier in his face the same way that Anna does. Like, yes, if it's just right, timed just right, it can block the critical heal. It's not here. But remember, you're also not sending left clicks while you're pushing your barrier. So as you do this, pushing barriers is pretty good when you throw them into Anna's face, when you throw them into Widow's face. Neither of those are great at destroying barriers. BAP has fine damage, and you'll notice as you're doing this, you're not sending left clicks. You're not sending left clicks. You can't send a left click while you're pushing your barrier like that. So that's delayed time. I would have rather, if I wanted him to get out of this fight to not heal his team, you know what would be a great way to make him not heal his team? Put a little bit of damage into him. Suddenly he's going to get worried and he's going to back off and protect himself, or he's not going to back off, in which case you've got the potential to finish him. But both of those are more interesting than putting a barrier in his face that you now can't really use to protect yourself except against him. Have to pull this barrier back right now. No. We're not still fighting here. We are way too in the middle of the thick of it to start fighting right here. We are getting ourselves over here immediately. We are not staying on this BAP. We got his lamp. That was a win. You just tried to flex 1v6.
An unexpected but not unwelcome development.
Heal up.
Okay.
victory.
So we talked some about your Sigma already. In some ways, you've got the principle of off-angling. Hey, good to think about off-angling over here. Good to think about off-angling from here. Much less interested in your far barrier projections. Much less interested in those. Don't particularly like those, to be honest. Would also like you to be much faster to pull your barrier back. Remember, your barrier deployment is usually about blocking something specific, blocking something, letting you do a little more damage. You're not actually looking to spend 700 HP on your barrier. You sort of use it to do its block work, get a little done. I want you to be fast to recall it, though. Like, okay, I got something done with it. I got anything done with it. I'm really looking to recall it rather than to sort of keep it out, either maybe continuing to sort of block a BAP or protecting my soldier. It's really about brief deployments when it comes to the barrier. And the reason for that is A, 700 HP really isn't that much, but B, you get that cooldown, that redeploy cooldown, where are we at, 2 seconds now? You get that ticking once you pull it back. So if you're slow to pull it back, A, it's not recovering health while it's out, but B, you won't be able to redeploy it. Like, if you pull it back once you're in trouble, well, now you have to wait the 2 seconds or whatever before you can actually deploy it again. Did we nerf that to 1.75? I don't remember. But you have to wait for that to come back out, and that will put you in trouble when you get in some of these fights, when you get in these duels, when you end up on the ground and you're like, oh shoot, I don't want to do that. We'd also like you to go out, but with Sigma, I would like you to think about pulling your barrier back faster, sending it in less. I, of course, continue to want you to focus on that off-angle stuff that we were talking about, that taking the high ground on the side that we were talking about. I probably wouldn't have challenged this Sigma. I mean, I'm okay with you challenging this Sigma. You could have made him leave faster than you did, whatever, not a big deal. Then once you make him leave, you take this, or you come over here and you do this, but I'm not too worried about it. When it comes to your Roadhog, I really want you to think of Breather as a retreat tool. I want you to think of Breather as because I have Breather, I can retreat effectively if I go deep. I don't want you to, like, take space. I mean, you can sort of like run into from cover to cover and use Breather to cover it, I suppose, but I don't want you running towards the enemy team using Breather. I don't want you using Breather in the open and staying in the open for the entire duration of Breather. I really want you working up the sides very similar to how you would on Sigma with Hog and doing that work most of the time and accepting that I have Breather so I can get out safely. Sigma is very good at holding off-angle positions once he takes them. Hog retreats from off-angle positions pretty well. Sigma does okay at it, but Hog retreats from off-angle positions pretty well if he does get pushed. So they should both be playing heavier for the off angles than your Hog really was there. There's obviously a bit more we can do with leading some of our right clicks with leading some of our hooks with right clicks, and then understanding how we separate, again, that we want to separate, that we want to have that off angle, that we can set up behind where the enemy team wants to drop to do work. You played a little bit of hero roulette here, so your review is a little, I don't want to say unfocused, but the things to work on are a little spread out a little bit in different places. But if we could get into the most important stuff, like the truly most important stuff, with your off tanks, Sigma and Hog, we off angle. With your main tank, Reinhardt, we are decisive. We go forward to swing. We go back to cover. We don't go, what am I doing? Am I going forward? Am I going backwards? What am I doing? Etc. We don't barrier for our team to shoot through. Those would be the biggest takeaways if I had to really narrow it down. I gave you more specific takeaways for each hero, but those would be the ones. If you have questions, go ahead and throw them up in chat now. That applies to Sheldon or anyone else. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. Okay, Sheldon says I never hit 2750. Mid plat is not hot. Adam says yes, you will. Oh no, Sheldon says I've never hit. Okay, so it doesn't say I'll, it does say I've never hit. Adam says yes, you will, which I think would be a response to the concept of I'll never hit, but that's not what was said. Mid plat is not hard, as you can easily do it if this nerd with zero mechanical skill can. Of course you can. Hey, when did I claim that rank? I claim the rank of bottom 500. I claim the rank of below bottom 500. I don't know what you're talking about here, Adam. Sheldon says I hit 2250 playing Zarya and shot calling back before roll queue when the group finder was popular. Okay. Sheldon, you can hit plat and above. You're good enough. Thanks, Adam. I'm working on it. I mean, Sheldon can hit plat, but Sheldon's not playing like a plat yet. Sheldon can put in the work and get there, but it requires focused, working on your skills, working on them one at a time, playing to get better, not just playing for fun, and that, is some work. That means doing some VOD review, focusing on what you're doing on, not queuing through a bunch of tilt, all these things. I'd say I'll see you in Diamond, but I'll be GM when you get there in a few weeks. And Sheldon's got, and Adam has the camel there. Good, good. Okay, Sheldon has a question. Given this bad push on around high side, which hero would have been the best choice? I'm really trying to flex based on situation at the expense of my run getting rusty. Given this bad push on around high side, this isn't really a hero issue. Like, if this is the push that you're referring to, and I think it is, your team wants to push this way? Is that what's happening? I mean, Reinhardt's fine with this. Like, you don't have to play Reinhardt here, but Reinhardt would have been fine for this push. Reinhardt can push through an off angle and clear an off angle with his team. That's perfectly fine if this is the one that you're referring to. No problem whatsoever with that. Reinhardt could also just, force cart pressure to make them drop, to make them fight him, but Reinhardt could absolutely do this rotation. I don't have an issue with Sigma doing this rotation either. We're just going to drive it better. This isn't some hero choice issue, though. Let me go back to your original comment, though, because you did have an original question. How to push the high ground on last point where we lost. This push is appropriate. This push is totally fine in terms of on anyone going, hey, I'm going to push through here. Now, if your core is going to push through here, like if you had someone else playing Reinhardt who was pushing here, you would want to push through here and pepper from this side. If you have other people peppering from here, like your Zarya is, it is effectively correct to go, hey, I'm going to threaten from here. We wouldn't necessarily go super deep, or would be ready to back out of it pretty quickly, though, and kite out, etc. But it's reasonable to threaten this from multiple sides if you're playing double off tank and take it down, and this was a reasonable place to threaten it from. Hog could have done it too, though. I mean, Hog could have walked up here. He'd actually been a little more durable for walking up here, throwing a right-click hook, left-click, and then running out and breathing if he had to. Like, he'd have a little easier time getting out than Sigma does. Sigma can use barrier, can use shift. We could have pulled back our barrier faster. We could have, once we'd done that, been accepting that we sort of needed to be out rather than pushing back in. Not a big deal. You one-tricked Ryan to 1600. Okay, good stuff. Still more work to do there, definitely. We talked about the forward and back stuff there, but we like it. Okay. Will Temporal show us his training videos? How about Temporal explains how to do fighting techniques from video games video? I mean, maybe at some point, Val, but that's not where I'm going right now. Like, I would have to set up my office for streaming here differently to, like, show you guys martial arts stuff, physical exercises, and that's really not my priority right now. Like, we are a 2,000 or so subscriber channel here. Like, we're not currently at a place where it makes sense to go, yes, let me totally change the office layout and go do that sort of thing. That, like, we're branching out, we're doing different things, we're absolutely seeing what the market wants here. We do, we cover other things like video game news, we do map guides, we cover some professional play, we touch on other areas. We're doing some streaming now on Twitch of an RPG at the moment. Like, we're branching out and doing other stuff, but that one it's always a return on investment calculation, and I don't think it makes sense to reconfigure the office and everything to show, okay, this is how you would do a double leg into a mount, how you'd swap from mount, how you'd build that into an S mount, and from S mount, how you'd then go for an arm bar, or you would then go whatever we'd want to do from there. Like, yeah, that's something that I could potentially do in the future, but that's not happening tomorrow. It's not happening next week. It's probably not happening this month, to be perfectly honest. Would you ever consume doing a placement stream on Twitch? Probably not. One trick run from 2002 1600. Ouch, ouch. That one hurts a little more, Sheldon. Okay. Things do turn around, though. Learning curve. Good. Happy to hear it. Have a lot of work to do. Thanks for the feedback. No problem, Sheldon. No problem. Adam wishes Sheldon luck. Sheldon says, I'm really struggling to synergize with my teammates on Rhine. Feels like I'm either falling back when everyone else tries to push. Feels like I'm either too far in and about to get eliminated, or falling back when everyone else tries to push. Rhine is definitely not fun at this rank, to be honest. So look at your team. Rhine can be a little annoying because you would like to set the pace. You would like to decide when your team is starting fights. But your team won't play to your tempo. They're not going to play to your tempo. So you have to look at when they're ready and push when they're ready. Or you have to look at when they're already pushing, when Soldier has already opened an angle, and start pushing. When Tracer has gone in, and start pushing. You either push when everyone is in a good position, whether they realize it or not, where they can enter the fight within a second if you do push. Or if you find you're getting blown up when you do that, because even though they can enter the fight, they're not, then you just adjust your play and you let someone else initiate. You go, okay, well, my Tracer is doing whatever they want, pushing whenever they want, so I'll stay close where I can start the fight pretty quickly, but behind cover. And then when my Tracer, sure enough, does at some point just go, I'm going to try to 1v1 this Ana. More realistically, I'm going to try to 1v6 this Ana. You go, now I'm going to go. I'm going to push now that my Tracer's in, because that's turning around the Ana and the BAP and the Junk, who are all trying to deal with them. I tried, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep playing main tank. That's fine. You can absolutely flex around and find if a different role suits you better. Off tank is a great role. Question, why do I get lazy after a few games? Does it mean I sit down for too long? Do I need more blood sugar levels? So, I do recommend breaks, but if you're trying to increase the duration or the quality of the duration of your gaming sessions, better diet, better exercise, more consistent exercise, actually working in breaks will absolutely help. But what you do if you're training for a situation like Northeastern had, for example, which we're not really training them for, but the situation like we had a couple weeks ago, just going to use them as an example, where they had to play 3 in a row best of fives, which were some long series. And by that last game, they were just burnt out because their play sessions aren't usually that long, that focused, that serious, that intense. Okay, well, that's a problem. They had a match against another top 16 or so Overwatch school. Then they had a match against a probably top 2, maybe top 4 Overwatch school. Then they had a match against a newcomer who is probably in the top 16 to top 32 range. And they were burnt out for that last match, and it showed. Well, the way that you improve that, the way that you'd make that better, if that was something that you were training for, the way that we made this better for contenders players, is you go, okay, we're going to increase it just slightly. So we're going to go, we need a full scrim block of focus. Full scrim block of focus. Okay, fine, cool. Then at some point we go, okay, now we need to increase how long you guys can focus. So now we might go for a second scrim block of focus. And you recognize that it's getting bad, and you don't just go, oh, guys, from the get-go, try to do 2 or even 3 full scrim blocks in a row of total focus, whatever, because they'll run out of focus here, and then they'll play on autopilot the rest of the way through, and that would train them to play on autopilot the whole time. Well, that sucks. We don't want to reinforce autopilot. We want to reinforce playing well, playing right. So you build it out slowly. So you get them to here, and then what you do is, hey guys, I really want you to focus up for one more map. For one more map, give it everything you got. If you're burnt out for this, I don't care. But you sort of play them to their natural limit, or play a player to their natural limit, and then you go, focus up for one more map. Focus up for another 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, and then do that. And then they build endurance for that, and you get out to here. And then you go, I really want the focus to the end of the block. You guys can take a break. You can do whatever after, etc. And you build that out. And you do that out. And then once you get consistent on this, you think about the third block if that's what you're going to do. You don't generally do third blocks unless you're prepping for a tournament where you specifically are trying to increase their endurance because you know it's going to be a tournament that is like do 3 best of 5s, then a best of 7, things like that just get intense. But you actually go, hey, you don't just give them super long sessions. You don't give yourself super long sessions off the bat. You give yourself a session that you can handle, and then you make yourself push for one more game of focused, and then you stop. You don't go, oh, let me just try to do this long session, because that just normalizes to you playing like this, and that's not what we want. Val says, thank you, Temporal. No problem. Next one will be an ego VOD. Probably. You can think it will be, Sheldon, but it probably won't. All that Ryan dancing you pointed out was me wanting to back up, but then my team lingering forward and me being undecided what to do next. I get it. I do. Also, not trolling when talking about your forehead. I really thought it gives an advantage. I know you don't mean harm, Val. Like I know you don't mean harm, and I'm not worried about it. But it was just like, kind of like, I know you don't mean harm. I'm fine with trolling on this, some level of trolling happening. I'm fine with that. I know you're not actually trolling. You're curious. But you were like a dog with a bone there, and you needed to let go of the topic. Like I wasn't really gonna go further into the topic than I did at the, after that comment. And I was just letting you know that because I know you're being serious, not trolling. And because I know you're being serious, not trolling, I'm sort of telling you I'm not really going to discuss that topic further, so you should drop it. If Adam's trolling, you'll notice, for example, I'm not going to tell him to drop a topic because, like, I'm offended or something like that. Like, that wouldn't make any sense, whatever. I'm also not really offended, but, like, it wasn't helpful to you, and I didn't want to I didn't want you to feel like you were being ignored. I wanted to tell you I'm not going to go further on that topic. That was just more productive. Trolling okay in moderation can get annoying during VODs when taken too far. I mean, it could if it's taken too far. I mostly find the level of trolling that we have on this channel is fine. It just makes things entertaining for people. But hey, okay. We'll go ahead and call it there unless I see more questions. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do consider dropping a like, subscribing if you're not already subscribed. You can throw a comment down there in the comment section. That helps out a bit too. If you're looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below. See what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff. Okay. That's going to do it. I will go ahead and call it there. Thanks, guys. Tim